Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night is Organ Music Night. Sorry for the delay this evening. We were a bit in stress before the concert started this evening, so we had to sort out a number of things. So here we are. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're taking a trip down memory lane. We're going to have one of those nights where there will be lots of little anecdotes. So please pay attention, take notes. Questions will be asked later. We're going to have some fun tonight. Now, a few people have been asking, what is this organ? Well, the title of tonight's concert was 3, no less than 3. How are we going to do 3? Let's do a sort of a international 3 or a German 3. Yes, 3 new Hauptwerk organs. This week I've been a very lucky boy and I have received, very kindly, 3 new, to me, Hauptwerk organs. Now, 2 of them are new in the Hauptwerk world, and one of them is actually very old in the Hauptwerk world. But it's a rather interesting experience to play this particular sample set. So we're going to hang around with this one tonight. We're not having all 3 tonight, but over the course of the weekend, you will hear all 3 of these magnificent new instruments. They're very different. They're all very different. They're all rather splendid, and they're all very different indeed. So do hang around tonight, and of course hang around on Sunday night, because on Sunday night we will look at 2 of the other 2 new organs, and they couldn't be more different. One is enormous, and the other is even bigger. I don't actually have enough manuals for the second one. This is actually, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, a 5-manual sample set, and I only have 4 manuals. Oh my goodness, I have manual envy. So join us on Sunday to find out what that's all about. Same time as tonight, usual stuff. Sunday night is organ music night. Now, this organ here is very special to me because this is my old organ. When I first moved to Germany 23 years ago, I moved to the city of Bonn, which used to be the German capital a long time ago, and for various reasons I moved to the city of Bonn. I won't go into it in any detail, but I moved to the city of Bonn. I couldn't speak a word of German, and one of the first things I needed to do was to find an organ to at least play or practice on. So I didn't speak any English at the time, but one of my first employment kind of things in Germany was I was giving piano lessons at the Bonn International School, which is an English-speaking school. And through that school, I got to get to know an organist who played for the American church in Bonn. Now, this is not a very nice organ in the American church in Bonn, a very old Kleist organ that really wasn't terribly nice at all, but it did the job, And this guy said, he sort of said, well, you can come and practice here, but it's, it's miles away from where you live. Where you live, there's a much better organ right around the corner from you. You want to try getting access to that organ. That's this organ here. This is the legendary, yes it is, there you are, Marek Michalak has it. It is the Oberlinger organ in Bonn-Beuel. Bonn-Beuel, that's if you imagine you've got Buda and Pest, they're on either sides of the Danube, and you have Bonn and Beuel on 2 different sides of the Rhine. So Beuel is on the, what side will that be actually? Let me think about it. How does the Rhine go? It's the east side of the Rhine. And the main church in Bonn-Beuel is St. Joseph. And in St. Joseph, you will find this organ. Now, it's called an Oberlinger organ. Oberlinger was the organ company that put it together. However, not much of it is actually Oberlinger. Most of the organ was built up from original Kuhn pipes, K-U-H-N. That's a Swiss organ builder who built in the French Romantic tradition. And most of the pipework came from a Swiss organ, and it was revoiced to sound like Saint-Sulpice in miniature form, which it kind of does. Anyway, so I appeared at this church, St. Joseph, which was just around the corner from my flat in Bonn at the time. And I rang the bell of the organist, and this crazy guy opened the door and sort of, he didn't speak any English, I didn't speak any German, so it was hilarious. But he got keys and he took me into the church and he showed me this organ. And yeah, 3-manual French Romantic organ, horseshoe console. I can't really show you a proper picture of it, but there you are. I have a video of it. It's called French Sensation in Bonn. I'll link it once this is up I'll link it. And it's an absolutely wonderful organ. Now, historically speaking, this is actually one of the most important organs ever to have been built. Believe it or not, this is the organ that sparked the international revival in French Romantic organs. Back in 1981, this organ was installed in this church in Bonn. And it was made to look like a French Romantic organ, the horseshoe console, all the different things there, all the bits and pieces that go with it. And it sparked the renaissance of the French Romantic organs. It really was the first one internationally to be built again in that style. Don't forget, back in the 80s, everyone was building sort of neo-Baroque instruments and horrible things, going back to the sort of the ancient style of organ building with no creature comforts whatsoever. But the organist in Bonn, a guy called Hans-Peter Reiners, he decided that this would be the way forward. And after this, organ builders started copying the idea, and the world went crazy once again for French Romantic organs. So this is a very important instrument. So of course I appeared here thinking, this is too good to be true, because this is, this was the kind of stuff I love. So this is too good to be true. So I got keys to the church, keys to the organ, and I got to come in and play anytime I wanted. And then suddenly one day, this guy Hans-Peter gave me a list of dates and said, right, you're playing the organ here, there, and everywhere. So I became one of the organist team at St. Joseph, and for years, for about 10, 12 years, I was one of the organists here on this magnificent instrument. Now, it's very important because not only did it reintroduce the German world at least, to French Romantic organ sounds, it also strengthened European relationships. Aha! Hans-Peter, this organ was inaugurated by none other than Pierre Cochereau, who was at the time still organist in Notre Dame, 1981. There was a big fight who was going to play the first concert. Was it going to be Pierre Cochereau from Notre Dame, or was it going to be Daniel Roth from Saint-Sulpice? Who was it going to be? And the fight was simply won by Pierre Cochereau because, well, he was at Notre Dame. He was bigger and better. The second concert was played by Daniel Roth, and so on and so on and so on. And over the years, any French classical organist, literally any one of them, came and played this organ. You name it, they played it. Jean Longley played this organ. Yeah, it's just, it's amazing to think of all the people that were there. Now, I only arrived on the scene in 2000, so I didn't get to meet all the really old, cool guys who got to play there. Gaston Litez played there. Cochereau played there. Daniel Roth played there. Jane Parker Smith played there hundreds of times. I helped Jane Parker Smith at the console many times, turning pages and pulling stops and things like that. International organists from all around the world still turn up and play concerts here, and I still get to join them and play concerts with them too. It's a wonderful instrument. Now, this sample set, let's continue with the story. This sample set has been around for a while. A company called Pipe Loops, a guy called Rainer Sukat, has put this together with others. It wasn't actually him that did the sampling. Someone else did the sampling, and he just sort of put it all together. And a long time ago, Rainer gave me another organ, which I featured here, from Nagold, which is somewhere else in Germany. A nice four-manual instrument, which I have featured a couple of times, but it's not a very famous instrument. So this is a very famous instrument. And I knew this sample set existed, but I didn't know much about it. I'd heard it on some recordings. James Flores, for example, has it. He's played things on it. And it sounds, it sounds all right. And I thought, yes, all right, fair enough, but it's not going to be as good as the real thing. Well, 2 days ago, I finally received my copy of my old organ to play with. And it's nice. It really is. Now, I'm recording this video separately, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit it, okay? And when I edit it, I'm going to put some other bits and pieces up about it. And what I would like to show you is that this picture here, I want to show you this picture. Now, unfortunately, I can't share the screen on this because this is Windows and it's stupid. But I'd love to be able to share that screen because this picture, this image of the console is so detailed, it's unbelievable. It made me laugh when I saw the image. For a start, the light, there's this sort of little IKEA light that sits on a wooden stand, sort of in the middle there of the music stand, and the light was always at a stupid angle. They've photographed the light at the stupid angle. It's at the wrong angle. It's perfect. They captured that for the image and the sample set. It's absolutely wonderful. On the left side, you can see all the chairs stacked up on the organ loft. You can still see them there. They didn't tidy them away. I thought this is wonderful. On the right side, you can see all the cables running around from all the lighting and all the other bits and pieces. They left that in. The tatty old carpet in the background with the frayed edges, they've left it all in. Those are the amazing details. So when I saw this image, I couldn't believe it. Now, what's even better, because I know this organ like the back of my hand, I can actually choose the stops here at the console. Check this out. I can actually choose the stops here. I know where all the stops are, so I could theoretically play the organ just from the screen like that. Isn't that wonderful? But I can have this view here with all the stops as they are, so all the beautiful little stops as they are, and it's beautifully done. He's taken very accurate pictures of the stop names, the stops, and they look perfect. Or I can have all the stops that are on the left side of the organist, all the stops that are on the right side of the organist. So I'm beginning to think now, maybe I need a second screen, so I could do this kind of thing. This would be amazing. I'm thinking about it. You can have them upright, and blah, 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 blah. You can do all sorts of wonderful things, but it made me feel very nostalgic. I feel like I was back at home in Bonn. Really amazing. There's one thing that's missing from this picture, however. Here, down in the corner, this stop here, that's the 32-foot reed. Hold on, we need to open up the pedals for that. That's the 32-foot reed. Down beside the 32-foot reed, there used to be a little plastic plesiosaur, a little sort of plastic Loch Ness monster. And it would have been so cool if they'd included that in the image here, because that was a piece of organ history as well. That was given to Hans Peter by Jane Parker Smith. They used to fight a lot about various things, and Jane one day turned up and said, "You're just like the Nessie," and she sort of placed this thing on the organ, and it stayed there forever. So there we have it. A wonderful old story, and it's absolutely wonderful to find this instrument in this form. It really is beautiful. It's a very typical sort of French Romantic organ. It has everything you need. It has the beautiful shimmering strings. And if they're not shimmering enough, you can change them and have more shimmering strings, slightly stronger strings. Which is rather lovely. It obviously has beautiful flutes, which is the thing that Oberlinger does best. Now, I don't know where they recorded it in the church, but listen to this. This is the swell organ, much further away. Isn't that cool? And this is the choir organ, which is the positive, and it's much closer to the listener. You can actually hear it a lot closer. I like that. Down on the grate, we obviously have a flute harmonique, which of course you do, and then you have all the bits and I'm not going to go through. I'm going to do a proper demonstration video of this, but oh, hello.
Warum wir nicht viel Screens haben. Wieso können wir den nicht auch streamen?
What do you mean?
Ja, warum kann man das nicht online machen? Online streamen, also als Bildschirm.
No, we were talking about screens for me to touch screens. We were talking about.
So, aber wieso kann man das nicht trotzdem? Wieso können wir das nicht?
Das kann man nicht, weil das Windows ist, weil das doof ist.
So. Über Apple gegeben.
Eben.
Habe ich gesagt.
Hast du gesagt. Vanessa hat gesagt. Vanessa just said we should have stuck with Apple instead of moving to Windows. Problem is, Apple and 128 gigs of RAM cost about 5,000 euros, which we didn't have. So there you are. That's why.
Schäferhund fragt, warum nicht 4 Screens?
Yes. Joe was asking why don't we have 4 screens? Sorry, Schäferhund, which means, what does that mean? Schäferhund? German Shepherd, that means. Why does he say, why don't we have 4 screens? One will do for the moment, but I think we may add a second touch screen at some point.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, would that be cool? Vanessa says she doesn't care. Perfect, even better. Hello, Vanessa. Vanessa's here, by the way. Wave at the camera, Vanessa. There's Vanessa's. That's Vanessa's actual left hand. What about the right hand? What about both? Look at that. Vanessa has 2 hands, now feet. All right, there we are. Was that it? Oh, that was it. Okay. What on earth was I talking about? Oh, yes. There are other sorts of very interesting things. Now, there's something here that doesn't exist on the real organ, and I think they cheated here. you can have a solutional sound, which is a soft string on the choir organ. Which is rather lovely. Or what we used to do, and we used to do this regularly, we would tune the solutional down a bit and have unda maris. It's the same stop. But what they've allowed you to do here on the sample set is have both together. Which gives you that sort of slightly out of tune effect. But traditionally you would use it with this. Ooh. Or you could use it with the flute, but it doesn't sound that good. Get the idea? Kind of cool. And then there's something else that doesn't exist in real art. They've got a bourdon 16 on the positive. Oh, sorry, there's something coupled there. I was going to say there we are. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist on the relog. It doesn't have a 16 foot on the positive. The positive is based on 4 foot length. Anyway, so those are the sort of additions to the sample set that don't exist on the real organ. But something that does exist on the sample set that I think is wonderful. Check this out. Typical French organ. If you buy this sample set, which I actually suggest you do because it's really rather wonderful, I give it my thumbs up. It gets 10 out of 10 from me. Oops, shit, just got water all over the pedal board, never mind. If I want to play, let's see, I want to play the oboe on the swell manual. Perfect, no problem at all. Now I want to play the trumpet on the récit. I've added it and nothing. Why not? What happened? What happened? Nothing. What you have to do is, because this is a French organ, French romantic organ, you have things called appels, which you call stops. You basically, it's a second sort of wind chest, if you like, which has to be added separately. So if you ever see French romantic organ music, it might say, prepare reeds, prepare swell reeds. And you think, well, what does that mean? Well, let's have full swell. Where did I have full swell? There we are, there's full swell. Full swell, okay? Now, if I just press this tiny button here, click, all that loud stuff, all of that disappears. Let's press that button again, back. Okay? And basically, it's quite clever. On the left side of the organist, everything appears and can be played immediately. On the right side of the organist, everything is added using one of those appels. So I can pull as many stops there as I want, but they won't work unless I have these chaps here, these appels. There's one for the pedal, one for the grand orgue, one for the positive, and one for the récit. Now on the real organ, you also have them here as little foot pedals, just like you have in the real organ in Saint-Sulpice. That's how it works. That's how all these French organs used to work. It's absolutely wonderful. It is very true of most original French romantic organs, and it's here and it works. So if you've got the sample set and wondering why half the stops don't work, now you know. Anyway, let's play some music. Let's play some music. The other day, it was somebody's birthday. A very, very important member of the Gartshore Gang. It was her birthday on Wednesday. Now, she got a private video as a commission. If you join us on Buy Me a Coffee, let's see if Vanessa can do this. If you join us on Buy Me a Coffee, she did it. Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. We have a new graphic. If you join us and buy me a coffee, you get reduced rates for various things. Now, there is something we do now called a commission. And if you have a loved one who might like a special private video or whatever, something along those lines, then you can commission that. And it's coming up on your screen anytime. There it is. And yeah, check that out. And I've had a few of these commissions now. It's working rather nicely. And but if you remember, you get half price basically. And it was the birthday of our good friend Nancy over in Chicago. Nancy Telling's birthday in Chicago. Now Nancy sent me a list of requests that she has that she would like to play for people. I'm not going to include too many of them tonight because the program's kind of set for tonight, but on Sunday we're going to look through a few of them on Sunday. Now Nancy, I have to be honest, some of them I cannot play because we're going to have copyright problems. At the moment, YouTube is being a real pain in the butt with copyright issues. It's very, very complicated, very annoying, but By the way, Marek, commissions include things like favourite hymns, favourite pop songs, favourite love songs, and not Bach preludes and fugues. Absolutely not. That's not the way it works. That's definitely not the way it works. Mike, the QR code is there so that people can point their mobile phone at it and it works instantly without them having to type anything in. That's technology. That's what it's all about. So anyway, it was Adrian's. It was Nancy. I'm just reading things from Adrian here. Sorry, it was Nancy's birthday. So let's play Happy Birthday on this organ. And then I'm going to play a hymn that Nancy requested. And I'm going to play the hymn she requested for our good friend Cam Platts. Cam can't be here tonight. Cam's mother-in-law sadly died last weekend. And he and Kristen have gone up to Kristen's parents' farm up in Minnesota. That's where they are. And so we're going to dedicate this hymn to Cam from Nancy after we've sung Happy Birthday to Nancy with the full organ here in St. Joseph. Ooh, this is weird. This is really weird playing this organ. It's almost like sitting back in St. Joseph playing it. There are sounds here that are very, very perfectly sampled. Now, your man Rainer from Pipe Loops, he calls this his legacy series. These are old style sample sets, so they're not the incredibly marvelous, sophisticated sample sets that we have these days, but by God, it's a bloody good one. Something that is a bit funny, and Rainer says this himself, and if you have this, hear that. That sounds a little bit sort of, yeah? That sounds a little artificial. So the releases, if you sort of, if you play short staccato stuff, it sounds a little artificial. Now, there's a way around that. And the way around that is quite simply just to play, hold on, I need to go back to the beginning. If we go back to there. Yeah. The way around that is just to play incredibly legato. Marek, French organs, play incredibly legato. That sounds like you're playing in St. Joseph. Now, which means, unfortunately, and this is where things do sort of fall apart a little bit. If I start playing some of my jazzy music, that, by the way, is a very faithful representation of the chromoan on this organ. Yeah, that's exactly the chromoan in this organ. And it's actually, it works in a staccato manner, so you can play jazzy stuff on it. However, this isn't so good, the trumpet. Sorry, I've got the cornet with that. It does sound a little... That sounds a little on the artificial side. But play big legato chords, it sounds absolutely perfect. It's weird, isn't it? But that's just the way it works. Which means, unfortunately, if you play this kind of stuff, right, Mike King, we understand you're having problems with the QR code. Is anyone else having problems with the QR code? Let's play a piece of jazzy music and I'll show you what I mean. This is where the sample set is just a tiny bit, not artificial, but a tiny bit, you realize it's a sample set and not the real organ. You can hear it in the releases, but it still does a marvelous job. Listen to this. There you are, a silly little piece of music. Fertig. Silly little piece of music. Is Vanessa going to press that button? Oh, she's playing around with all sorts of effects. Oh, she's back in the game. Isn't it nice having Vanessa back to help us out, ladies and gentlemen? Say hello, Vanessa, everybody. And yeah, let's show Vanessa the love. Show Vanessa the love. Right, let's have a look at this. I haven't had a look at this yet today. Oh, we've had a ticket or two, and I have some advertising. Right, we don't want that. Let's have a look. Oh, there's more advertising. Sod that. Who dis? Stefan. Thank you, Stefan. Who dis? Jürgen. Thank you, Jürgen. Who dis? Paul. Is it Paul or is it Paul? I don't know. Let's say Paul. Hello, Paul. I don't recognize that name. Christoph. Thank you very much, Christoph. Who dis? William. Oh, Bill's on time tonight. How cool. Who dis? One for Vanessa tonight. Mark. Thank you, Mark. And, oh, lots of people on here. So we've got Bill, we've got Alexander, we've got Gerald, and we've got who dis? Who dis? ASON International Incorporated. That's a company. I like that. ASON International. Hello. Who's ASON International? Tell us about yourselves. I like you. I don't recognize that name. So there we are. Thank you very much. Some tickets coming in already. That's very kind. And I think, I don't know, anything on Buy Me a Coffee? Vanessa saying no. Buy Me a Coffee, we're saving up for new lighting at the moment because it's gradually dying. This is cheap Chinese lighting that we bought years ago. Yes, I know. We should have bought something decent from the beginning, but we didn't have the money at the time, so this is what it was. But yeah, we're getting there. So we're saving up for some new and decent lighting at the moment. And I think actually, having played with this, and when you see the other organs, do join us on Sunday to see the two other new organs. 2 new organs on Sunday, a 4-manual and a 5-manual organ, 80-something stops and over 100 stops on the other one. Good God, huge. Yeah, going to be exciting. And they're so big, I think it might be an idea to invest in a second monitor. So I have 2 touch screens, click, 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 left and right, to be posh. Would that be a good idea? Hands up if you think it's a good idea to have 2 touch screens. I do. But do you think it's a good idea to have 2 touch screens? I think it would be. What do you think? Let me know. Jerry, you've got 2 touch screens. Is it good to have 2 touch screens? I'm at home in Bon Boyle, Jerry. I'm at home. It's really weird, but it's really lovely. Really lovely indeed. Really lovely indeed. Really lovely indeed. Right, now, I'm going to have a poke about in the old hymn book here. When I arrived in Germany, like I said, this was the organ I got to play with on a daily basis. It sort of became my organ, which is absolute madness. And something I gradually got used to doing was playing for German church services, which took a little while because I didn't speak the language when I arrived at first. It took a long time. A screen on the block side, Alex, would not block. It would be about that height, so it would be fine. It wouldn't block because the camera is higher, so don't worry about it. It wouldn't block. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. It really wouldn't. Yeah. And so I was playing for these German church services, but, and here's the fun part, this church in Bonn, we would turn every service into a sort of Notre Dame or Saint-Sulpice service. So before the service, you would improvise at the organ in a sort of French style. And then after the service, you would improvise around in a French style as well. And during the service, there would be various parts of the service where you could do what you wanted. And I obviously did. I thought this was wonderful. I really thought this was wonderful. And it sort of taught me a lot about different kinds of improvising. Don't forget, I was used to the sort of the why is this pausing all the time? This is most annoying. Is the internet all right tonight? It seems to be, yeah. 3 screens. Brooke says 2 screens. I know, you sent me a picture. Yeah, I think 2 screens. We'll work it out. If we get nice low screens, then it'll work. Exciting. I suppose they could be further back. They could be here. They could be here. Touch screens down here. Sort of, they could be at a sort of an angle, couldn't they? They could be at a flat angle, like this kind of touch, rather than that kind of touch. That would be cool. So I would have to peer at it. We can think about it anyway. So you would have the organ set. By the way, this is very bizarre. When I set up these registrations for the concert tonight, I actually set up my standard registration combinations that I had on the organ. I wonder, are they still there? The old console is still there, and it doesn't work at the moment. The church was struck by lightning years ago and completely fried the old console. All the electronics in the old console are just fried, which is a shame because it just sits there doing nothing. So, you know, when I got the sample set, I set up my old combination registrations the way I would have done. Don, do you use the screens often for registering? Yes and no. Yes, when I'm setting things up. No, because I've only got the one screen, I use my pistons all the time. But if I had the multi-screen possibilities, then I would definitely use it more. Yes, I would. I would. So anyway, right. So yes, so I was setting this up, and it just reminded me of me playing my services. So on my first combination, it's combination 0 here, but this is combination number 1 on the organ itself. This would have been mine. So I have the soft swell strings. I have the flute harmonique. So very French. All that's missing is the 32 foot, but because the 32 foot is a bit sort of ropey in, it's not the nicest 32 foot in Bon Boyo. It's not a true 32 foot, it's a stopped 32 foot, which isn't quite as nice as it could be. You can hear, the bottom F, you can actually hear the case shaking, which I think is perfect. And then in the middle, I would have this sort of this undamares with the montre. Which is absolutely lovely. And if it happened to be tuned as the solutional at the time, then I would just have that, because it's the same actual stop on the organ, so it didn't matter. It's nicer if it's the undamares, obviously. Anyway, so if you're late to the concert on the original organ, that only exists as one or the other, not both. Anyway. So I would be playing. Let's say the first hymn would be Lobe den Herrn. Okay, a wonderful old German hymn, which you all know internationally as something else. So before the service started, you would probably hear something like this. So about 5 minutes before the service begins, people would be sitting in the church. They'd be chitty-chatting away, and I would always start with one note on the pedal just to remind them, time to shut up. Hello. Apparently my feet aren't doing anything tonight. Isn't that weird? They are, you know. Adam's family. Oops, it's not working. Why is that pedal cam not working? What's happened here? I beg your pardon? I don't know. Let's find out. It's stuck. I don't know. It's having a brain fart. It's not even on. Hey, that's impossible. Oh, bloody hell, I'm getting... Why is it not showing a picture? It's not showing any picture. I know. It worked before, didn't it? It's having a fart. I know how it feels. Okay, it doesn't want to work. Hold on. Hello. It's Vanessa, everybody. Do you want to wave at the camera again?
Nein.
Why not?
Jedes Mal.
Yeah, people want to see bits of Vanessa, don't you, everybody? Everyone wants to see parts of Vanessa. That sounds rude, I know, but yes. I think it's overheated. I think it may have overheated. Oh. This is our ancient GoPro. Here we are. It's on. Oh, there we are. There's an image, and I can see something. There we go. Right, let's plug that back in. HDMI. And... oh no, I kicked it. Oh, that's it. I'm in trouble now. I moved it. Oh, hold on. I need to put this up on big screen so I can see it. Guck mal, ob das okay ist. Okay, Vanessa says yes.
Hier, da muss noch Staub gewischt werden auf der Orgel.
Vanessa says we need to dust the organ. Where? Wo?
Unten an dem Pedal.
Down at the pedals there. Look at that.
Weiter links auch.
Yeah? Over here?
Siehst du das nicht?
Over here?
Ja.
Over there?
Ja, mit den Füßen ist das
Right, there we are. I just dusted the organ with my socks.
So,
Is that all right? Mm-hmm.
Hast du so einen Schirm?
I will do that, yes. I will find something nice. Yes, yes. Done.
Schon gemacht?
Mm-hmm.
Aber nicht alle Sachen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Aber du wirst noch Sachen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hold on. Vanessa's in producer mode tonight, my goodness me, all the things that aren't working and all the things that we don't do perfectly. Anyway, right, where were we? We were, oh, a jumpy spider. Can you see that on the wall over there? You can't. There's a tiny little jumpy spider. We've got a real spider, everybody. Come on, spider people, spider people. We have a real jumpy spider in the room. Cool. Right, the pedal camera is working again, so that's good. Anyway, so there we are. So this is, some of the weird stuff that would happen with my wonderful... with my weird and wonderful organ in Bonn. And if you... the sound with the swell box closed... is really very good. Now, this reminds me of... let me get rid of the oh, it's got wonderful shamades, by the way. We'll do that when I do a proper demonstration. This reminds me of the time we had the organ completely and utterly tuned. Alexander said it doesn't sound realistic because it's all in tune. That's true, actually. Normally French organs are wildly out of tune. And on some new sample sets, you can play around with the tuning. On this one, you could go into individual pipes and faff about, but that would take forever. But there was a point in history when this organ was absolutely perfectly tuned. The organ builders came and they gave the organ a general tuning. They did everything, literally. They tuned it so perfectly. We had a recording done. Bernard Leonardi, who is the organ in Saarbrücken, in the huge, huge basilica in Saarbrücken, he came and recorded the works of Gigoux on the organ. It's a wonderful recording, absolutely wonderful recording. Now, when it was done, we all sat down and listened to the recording, and we couldn't believe that this was the organ in St. Joseph because it was so perfectly in tune. The Grand Chœur. it starts like that, yeah. And normally you would start it on. You might start it on the. You might start it on the shamad. You might do that, but Bernhard didn't, because the organ was so perfectly tuned. He started it on full swell. And this recording was so well done, and the organ was so perfectly tuned. We played this recording to my old organ professor, who came and played a concert not long afterwards, after the recording was finished, and we played it to him afterwards. And I pressed play and I said, Johannes, which organ is this? And we played. And he sat and he thought, I don't know, because when the full organ came in, when the full organ came in, of course, it was absolutely bombastic, over the top. And Johannes couldn't believe it. And he said, I don't know, I really don't know. Definitely French, yes. I don't know, it could be Rouen, but I don't think it's Rouen because it doesn't have the snappiness. The reeds aren't so overpowering. I think it might be Toulouse. And we said, nope, not Toulouse. Okay, if it's not Toulouse, then it could be. And he went on and on, and he went through this list of French organs. And we said, nope, much closer to home. Oh, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. And he went on and on and on, thinking of organs. Maybe it's in Luxembourg, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And we said, nope, much closer to home. And eventually he went, it's not here. I said, it is. It's definitely here. He said, can't be. That's impossible. The organ does not sound like that. And it's true. When it's perfectly in tune, it really does sound like this. So, there you are. There you are. Bizarre. Bizarre, bizarre, bizarre. Now, earlier today, we have more sad news in the organ world, unfortunately. And earlier today, our old friend Rien Schalkwijk from the Netherlands, Rien posted on his, he posted that his mother sadly died. Now, Rien's mother has been ill for a long time, a very long time, a number of years now, in fact. And she really held on a long, long time, which was quite amazing. But sadly, she succumbed, and she obviously died earlier today, which is very sad indeed. And Rien is a good old friend, so I would like to play this piece of music for Rien's mum. Now, I never met Rien's mother. I've never actually met Rien in person. We've only ever sort of telephoned and video called and all that kind of thing. And but Rien is a wonderful organist, and he posts daily on YouTube, which is amazing because, you know, he has a full-time job. He's a full-time member of, well, am I allowed to say it, the Dutch Armed Forces, and you know, and he has his full-time job, but he still manages to find time to post a video on YouTube every single day. I don't know how he does it. I really don't. And he has a family. He's got 3 kids and a wife and a full-time job, and he still manages to post every day. I have no idea how that's even possible. Wonderful. Should be a lesson to us all, I suppose. I've only got 1 kid, and yeah, so I really don't know how he does it. But Rien's mum sadly passed away, so as a little tribute to Rien and his mum, I'm going to play a little improvisation on this magnificent organ in Bonn. And it's a tune we actually played last week, but I'm going to play it again because I love it so much. It's "The Day Thou Gavest, Lord, is Ended," which is just wonderful. I think it fits perfectly, don't you? The day that gave us Lord has ended. Hopefully a fitting tribute to the wonderful life of Reen's wonderful mum. Apparently she was quite a character. She loved life. She definitely lived life to the full, and she fought right to the very end. What a wonderful character. Let's hope we all get to go that way. Wow. So there we are. Wonderful stuff indeed. Now that was a slightly different program than the one I had intended. Who is it? Gerald? Is it just Gerald there that said it's a French organ? Why aren't you playing French music? I will. I'm going to do a demonstration of this organ, a full sort of in-depth video demonstration of it, and go into all detail. I need to play around with the sample set a little bit more. There's a thing here called control. You can control various sounds and the way things are built up and mixed effects and things like that. So I'm going to play around with it a little bit more and see what I can do. I've already mixed it a little bit. I took the volume of the 32-foot reed. I must be the only organist in the world that does that, and made it slightly softer because it was so loud it was overpowering. So I turned that down a bit. I turned down the other the main 32 as well, the sub-bass. I turned it down a bit. I actually turned the shamads down a bit too, but it's still popping and crackling on full organ, as Joe quite rightly heard. It's an amazing instrument, though, it really is, and it's a wonderful sample set. So I'm very much looking forward to playing around with it a lot more. But, ladies and gentlemen, to finish this evening, yes, we have to. We're going to... Oh, I can't show you my other new instruments. There's a new one, there's so many new instruments. It's so exciting. I have so many new toys to play with. It's so exciting. Little Boy Sweetie Shop. Yes, that's me. It's so exciting, it really is, really is. How are we doing on the old extra tickets there, ladies and gentlemen? Any more? Oh, we have some more here. Who's this? Jan, thank you, Jan, that's very kind. Maido, our friend Maido, with his wonderful name. Maido from Estonia, isn't it? It's Estonia, yes it is. Yes, Estonia, wonderful. Nancy, oh my goodness, Nancy, thank you very much indeed. Nancy, for your birthday. Now, do join us on Sunday, Nancy, because I'm going to go through more of your requests on Sunday night. I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it earlier, we're having a lot of copyright problems at the moment with YouTube, so I'm going to have a little chat to you over the weekend with some of them, but I will be able to play a number of them on Sunday night for folks, so we might have to condense them a little bit, if you know what I mean, but I'll sort it out with you. So wonderful stuff. So thank you very much indeed. And thank you very much for your generous donation this evening. Very kind. I think the others we already mentioned. ASOM International, Gerald, William, Brooks and Alexander. Yes, I think we did. We mentioned them already. And all the others before. So thank you very much indeed. That's very kind of you all, ladies and gentlemen. If you're enjoying things so far, don't forget you can join us. You can join us in various places. You can join us on Buy Me a Coffee, which Vanessa has there. You can buy a virtual ticket via PayPal. Click, click. Is she going to change it? Is she going to change it? Yes, she is. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't this wonderful? Vanessa really is the best. Everyone needs a Vanessa, ladies and gentlemen. I all suggest you try to find one. Ooh, oh my goodness, where's this? Oh no, it's not. I'm not going to find it there, am I? I have to find it here. There we are. B-A-U. There we go. That's the one we're looking for. Right. Now, we've had some, of course we have, we've had some fun requests for fun jazzy music to finish off this evening. Our friend Opus 3, who's from up around the Bonn-Cologne area, he always disappears when we start playing the jazzy stuff. I suggest you hang around tonight. Jazzy music on an organ is definitely part of the organ's history. It's a theatre organ, and I know you don't like theatre organs, but hang around, you might get to like them eventually. They do have their moments, and they do have their place in organ history. So please hang around and see what you think. It's all good fun. We've got some time to finish off this evening with some jazzy things, and our friend Uncle Joe loves big band style music. He loves his jazz music. He loves his music of the 30s and the 40s, and I've actually found an old Ellington one from the 1940s. Let me just make sure my pedals are all in the right position. Yes, they are. Good. An old Duke Ellington one from the 1940s, 1944, 45, I think. I can't remember exactly. And it's an absolutely wonderful sort of big band number you can do. And Duke Ellington had hundreds of different versions of this, from very slow bluesy ones to pretty upbeat, fast ones. We're going to do a medium one today. It's a wonderful piece of music. wonderful piece of music for anyone who's just had their eyes done. It's called I'm Beginning to See the Light. There we are. I'm beginning to see the light. Oh, I love it. An absolutely wonderful one from the old world of Duke Ellington. Now, Fats Waller did it. Art Tatum did it. Oscar Peterson did it. I did it. I'm guessing Aaron Showers will have done it as well. It's a wonderful piece of music called I'm Coming, Virginia. If you haven't played it, Aaron, I do suggest you do, because it's got the most amazing chord changes. It's basically an exercise in jazz harmony. It's a wonderful piece of music. I'm Coming, Virginia from 1925, a very old one, almost 100 years old. If anyone dares to claim copyright in this, they're going to get a punch in the teeth. I'm coming, Virginia. And it refers to the geographical place, Virginia, in case you were wondering. A wonderful piece of music indeed. I absolutely love it. Hold on. And then, it's in here somewhere. It's very difficult to find this. It's going to be here. It's going to be somewhere over there. There it is. Click. Oh, it's so difficult to find these things because they're so... There it is. Tunes with wonderful harmonies. This is what I love. And I think we need to change some registrations here. Let's get some piano style registrations here because we need a piano for this one. Yeah, we need a piano. There we go. And if we're going to do some jazzy numbers, which we are going to do, we need... Yeah, some big band stuff. Yes. We're going to do this one from Gus Kahn. Again, 1925. Gus Kahn. That's a wonderful name. It sounds like... I don't know. Sounds like a Bollywood actor, doesn't it? Yeah. By someone called Fiorito, who's obviously some mafia gang member from those days, and Gus Kahn, who was Jewish mafia back in those days. All these songwriting teams, they all belonged to sort of a Jewish mafia. It was absolutely amazing. I'd have loved to have been alive in those days. I wouldn't have stood a chance, obviously, but it would have been great to have been alive in those days, at least to get to have known these people and played those tunes at the time they were actually on the go. Imagine turning up at a jazz club and meeting Fats Waller. How cool would that have been? Anyway, I will never know. And in the past tense, I never knew. Haha, that's the name of this song. Now, there are 3 songs with the title I Never Knew, and this is my favourite one. It's so simple. It's only got a few chords, but my God, they make sense. It's wonderful. I Never Knew from Fiorito Kahn back in 1925. Ba-ba, ba-doo-da, ba-dee-da, ba-doo-da. So it's a swing number. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I never knew. Ooh, I love that kind of stuff. That's my weekly workout. Doesn't do the tummy much good, but it does do the legs a lot of good. At least the left leg. Anyway, good fun indeed. I never knew. There's a wonderful piece of music called I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free. And you all know this. If you're from the United Kingdom, you definitely know this piece of music because it was the theme tune from Barry Norman. Easy to play with pedals. And that's a wonderful piece of music that when I play concerts, I dedicate that one to unhappily married men. I call it, I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free. Anyway, yes, so I never play that for myself because, hey, let's face it, I'm the happiest man in the world. Why? Because I have a Vanessa. Is she listening? I hope she is. It's wonderful to have a Vanessa. If you don't have one, I suggest you try to find one. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Friday night as All Good Music Night. A weird kind of sort of trip down memory lane for me with my first German organ. The amazing French romantic beast in St. Joseph in Bonn-Boyle, which is just, it's crazy to think that there's a sample set of my old organ. Wouldn't it be great if we could get a sample set of my current organ, the little one I play in Herschbach? That would be good fun. Maybe if a sample set producer is in the area doing something else exciting and big, maybe I could tempt them into doing one of Bonn-Boyle as well. That would be good fun, wouldn't it? Would that be a good idea? Who wants a sample set of little old Bonn-Boyle? Not Bonn-Boyle, sorry, Herschbach. Who wants a sample set of Herschbach? Mike, where can you get a Vanessa from? Good question. Yes, sorry, Jez was telling us, what was that piece of music? Yes, it was a BBC film sort of critic program called Film, and then whatever year it was, so Film 87, Film 91, whatever. And Barry Norman was the guy who presented it, and he chose that music from Billy Taylor. Wonderful jazz piano player, Professor Billy Taylor. I met Professor Billy Taylor in New York. When I was in New York oh my goodness me, it must have been 2003? 2003? Must have been around then. May have been before, actually. I can't remember. I must have a look and see. His bass player, a guy called Earl something or other. Ooh, I can't remember now. He was celebrating his birthday in a jazz club in Harlem. And I didn't know this. I just turned up at this jazz club in Harlem. It was absolutely wonderful. And it turned out to be a who's who of New York jazz. This guy, Earl May, was that his name? Earl May? I think it might have been Earl May. And he was playing with his trio at the time, but it was his 70th, 75th, 80th, I can't remember, something birthday. And all these people just kept turning up at that concert. And actually here, anecdote time, when we're on the subject of anecdotes. I was with friends, and one of these friends went to this Earl May guy and said, look here, this guy that I'm with here tonight, he's like the European version of Count Basie. If you want to get him up on piano, he'll play some stuff. So, you know, I didn't know any of this was happening, but later on that night, this guy called me up and I got to play piano with them. And they said, what do you want to play? And I said, I don't know, let's do some Count Basie stuff. So we did Shiny Stockings. We did all that kind of stuff, Count Basie stuff, yeah? And everybody knew the piece of music. And there was one old guy in a wheelchair with a trumpet, and I thought, it can't be, but please tell me it is. And this guy got his trumpet out and started doing some solos. It was, of course, the wonderful Clark Terry. Oh my God, yeah, Clark Terry mumbles, and he did this amazing solo, and I just couldn't believe it. I was sitting there just staring at this guy playing, and he was sort of watching what I was doing. He was half blind anyway, but absolutely wonderful. And I got to speak to Clark Terry later that evening. And he said, yeah, man, you do. You sound like the European Count Basie. It's kind of cool. And he said, here, see that guy over there? And there was this guy with lots of hair. And he said, that's that. You know who that is? I said, don't know who that is. He said, that's Frank West. This was one of Count Basie's saxophone and flute players. Go and speak to Frank. He's got a concert tomorrow night. Maybe you can sit in with him. All right. So I went and spoke to this guy, Frank West. And he said, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I'm playing this concert tomorrow night. Yeah, downtown. I can maybe see if we can get you up for a number. I'll tell you what, meet me such and such a bar at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, and we'll talk through it. The band, we're going to have rehearsals tomorrow, and then we're going to, we'll talk about it. I'll introduce you to the other members of the band, and we can talk about something. Yeah, but we'll do a bassy number, that kind of thing. The whole concert tomorrow night, it's about Kansas City music, so it fits perfectly. How about that? Brilliant. So I turned up at this bar the next night, and it was the bar was downtown. It was near sort of Columbus Circle, if you know anywhere about New York, sort of the southwest side of Central Park. It was down there, and I didn't know what was in the area. So I just met at this pub, and I wandered in, and I thought, hold on a minute, I recognize some of these people, some really famous looking sort of musicians kicking about, and there was one guy that I instantly recognized. I thought, oh my God, I can't believe this. Okay, and I said, all right, there's no way I'm going to get to play a number with these guys tonight, but hey, wouldn't it be fun? And I wasn't exactly dressed up Mr. Smart. I was dressed up smart enough, but I wasn't all sort of smart. They were all in black suits, ties, all this kind of stuff. So Frank sort of saw me, and he came up and said, yeah, I want you to meet this guy. I told him all about you, and he says, you can come up, and we're going to do In a Mellow Tone and Shiny Stockings, Count Basie original with you. Are you okay with that? I said, yeah, sure. My God, I'd love to. I said, all right, so tell me about it. He said, we've got the whole band. We've got the whole Basie band. Don't worry about it. I'm playing. We've got Clark Terry's in. He's going to do a feature. They just got Clark Terry in spontaneously as well. Who was running the whole thing? It was Wynton Marsalis, wasn't it? Running the whole thing with his band. And it was an absolutely crazy night. It really was an absolutely crazy night. And I got to be Count Basie for 2 numbers on the piano, and it was just unbelievable. And the funniest thing was Butch Miles, the drummer, and Butch Miles was playing drums, and he was one of Basie's drummers. And I got to watch the concert, the main part of the concert, until I was on in the second half. And Butch just did his thing, drum, and didn't pay any attention to what was going on. He just played his solos and did all this stuff. But when I came on stage and did my thing, I just started off, as Count Basie would do. Count Basie would start off with one of those things. And Butch was sort of playing around with his sticks, getting ready. The guy on bass, what was that guy on bass called again? Oh, it was again a Count Basie bass player. It was crazy. But I started playing, and Butch just sort of sat up and sort of stared over at me, and then got his brushes out and started looking, and he didn't take his eyes off me the whole time. He was just watching and watching and watching. And afterwards he said, God, it was like playing with Basie again. Yes. The European Count Basie. That's what they called me that night. They introduced me as the European Count Basie. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Friday night is organ music night, complete with trips down memory lane and a variety of anecdotes. I got an email recently. Apparently you enjoy my anecdotes, so I shall continue with some of my anecdotes from time to time. Ladies and gentlemen, we must disappear. It's late. I've got to go to bed. See you on Sunday. Bye-bye.